Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's council meeting. Roll call, please.
Barkley.
Here.
Walter.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Ewert. Here. Benner.
Here.
Horton. Here. Crum.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Tonight's invocation will be given by Kurt Hansen, Haysville Christian Church.
Mr. Mayor. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for an amazing, beautiful day. This is a day that you've made, and it was beautiful. We thank you for it. We thank you as we gather here tonight that we've just remembered and celebrated what you purposed and accomplished for us through your Son, Jesus Christ. That he came to give us life. A life of forgiveness, a life of peace, a life of hope, a life filled with joy. Lord, we thank you for this city. We thank you for the developments that are taking place, for new citizens that will one day be calling this community home. Father, I just continue to pray for our schools, that you would continue to put a hedge of protection around them. And Lord, I lift up this council tonight. I thank you for Mayor Kester and his heart for this city. I pray that they'll like one another, enjoy working together for the same common cause and purpose, that all the citizens of this great city would just simply say there's no place like home. And I thank you for them tonight in their service here through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we have a special order of business. A, the Arbor Day proclamation. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, I, Russ Kessler, Mayor of the City of Haysville, do hereby proclaim May 3rd as Arbor Day, in the City of Haysville. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant and gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated today, 10 April 2023. All right, next we have the presentation and approval of minutes. A, minutes of March 13th, 2023. Councilman Benner.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of the March 13 business meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of March 13th. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley.
Abstain.
Walters.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ewert. Abstain.
Yes.
Horton. Yes. Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next, item 1, citizens to be heard. We have Mark with Air Capital Waste. Welcome.
Thank you. I feel like a regular. Last time I was here, you guys gave me the opportunity to discuss the franchising before you took a vote. I appreciate that. I came before you with quite a few issues that I thought were problems with franchising. One of those was that it would probably put me out of business in Haysville. And like I tell my employees, Problems are easy to come up with. Let's see what the solutions are. So this past week, I came and talked to Will with some ideas we had, and he invited me back to discuss those with you and see kind of what your thoughts were. The Haysville Pride did a survey, started in October of last year, to see what the citizens wanted. If you remember, I was here in October also. That was the night that you were looking at voting to revoke the license of Best Value because of all the stuff that had happened with Best Value. Right after that, Pride started their survey. They did it for 3 months, and they came up with several issues that the citizens wanted addressed. The first one was inconsistent trash pickups. The second was inconsistent trash price. And the third was the damage that was being done to the roads here in Haysville. The first one, I think we took care of at that meeting or right after that meeting, where we started to pick up those customers who weren't being serviced. So we did that for 30 days, and then we gave those people time to select another trash hauler. Some of those went with us, some of them went with other companies. But it seems like, or as far as I can tell, that problem of inconsistent pickups has been solved. The second one was prices, inconsistent prices. And it's true, there are prices all over the place. We have customers who have been with us a long time. We feel like we need to honor those people, so they have a little bit lower price than someone who signed up with me today. All of those prices are really close. We give discounts for seniors, for veterans. So there are different plans. There's a smaller cart size that someone can select. That would be a different pricing also. So there are quite a few reasons for the different pricing. The main problem there is the high prices, I think. And what we would like to do or offer to the city is, as a company, we would roll back our pricing to the price before the last increase we had. We're also discussing customers who have that high price with another company, us doing something to help them with costs of getting rid of their other company's trash carts. I know some of the companies are charging a substantial fee if you quit them and you want that cart picked up. It's pretty pricey. So we would do something to help those people also. But we roll back our new customers and our existing customers' pricing and give them a discount. It would be a special Haysville rate only. And then as far as the roads here in Haysville, there is a substantial difference in equipment that's going up and down the roads. We have 3 different trucks that we run down here. One of those trucks is the same as what the big companies run. It's a commercial front loader that is made to do residential trash service. That truck weighs about 43,000 pounds empty. So when I pull onto the block to pick up the first stop, it's 43,000 pounds. I have other trucks in our fleet that are as light as about 30,000 or 29,000 pounds. I talked to Allen and Sons today. His heaviest truck is 28,000 pounds. So what I would propose is that I, as a business, change the way we do business in Haysville, and we would go back to a lighter rear load truck and try to keep our trucks under that 30,000 pounds. That's 13,000 pounds less going up and down the street, in Haysville. But also we can run both sides of the street at the same time for any of your residential neighborhoods. So we would not only cut our weight down by 13,000 pounds from the start, we would also cut down the number of times we have to go up and down your streets. And then I noticed in the detail of Pride's survey, another question that they asked, and a lot of people were interested in, was bringing back the neighborhood cleanups. And years ago, we had worked and worked with Pride and done neighborhood cleanups. And so what we would suggest is we as a company would start that process. We can negotiate, sit down with the city and Haysville Pride. We would offer our trucks and labor to start a program to where we would phase in doing the neighborhood cleanups again. Could be a system like Haysville Pride had years ago where they had vouchers. Could be, citywide. But we would do this in cooperation with any of the other trash haulers that wanted to participate. If no one else would participate, we still have enough trucks that we could do it for the city without having to bring anyone else in. So I think these were the main issues. I believe that it could be a solution. We could come up with about 80% of what they wanted in this without having to go to what I would consider the extreme of selecting one hauler and putting the rest of them out of business. So I'd ask that you would reconsider your vote to pursue franchising. The timeliness of it is important for us. Our customers right now don't know what is going to happen. They don't know what to do, whether they switch from that company to me for a lower rate. Am I going to continue to offer that? Will I continue to operate? They don't know what's going to happen. So timely addressing this would be a great benefit. We're also going to start rolling back our prices once we know exactly what you're going to do. So we would ask that you would reconsider your vote to franchise. Thank you.
Thank you. So, council have any questions? All right, next, Councilman Walters.
Yeah, sorry. Just one question. You mentioned last time that there was a lock on the landfill. How does that affect you or affect the franchise if it comes up?
There are two landfills available to us. One is up Butler County, it's up at El Dorado, and the other one is owned by Waste Connections down in Harper County. We take most of our trash to El Dorado, so we're at a disadvantage because of the distance. We're getting to the size to where we are kind of maxing out the volume that they would like for us to bring up there. So we don't have a lot of options there. We can take it to Wellington, and that's a transfer station. That transfer station, the trash is transferred out of there by Waste Connections to Waste Connections landfill. So they ultimately control the pricing down there also.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have item 2, approval of license and bonds. We have none. Item 3, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. None. Item 4, notices and communications. A, governing body announcements. Councilman Crum.
Going on at the library this month. Tomorrow will be at 6 o'clock will be County Commissioners Lopez Citizen Advisory will be meeting on the 13th, which is Tuesday. There will be the 10 a.m. Parents as Teachers Story Time, the 11 a.m. Parents as Teachers Toddler Time, and that will be each Tuesday, so the 13th, the 20th, and also the 27th for those two things. On April 13th, there's also a Stepping Stone craft class that starts at 5 o'clock. You can get a hold of the library back and signed up for that one. Then on the 19th, you've got the Lego Club will meet at 4 o'clock. Coming up on April 20th, will be the Chamber of Commerce Luncheon will be at the library. The library wants everybody to remember that on April 22nd is Earth Day. Also on April 22nd from 9 to 3 at the library, the Kansas Association of Parliamentarians will be meeting. April 23rd to 29th is National Library Week. And April 25th from 10 to 8, they are doing a readathon revival. Then also a reminder that quilters meet in the community room on Monday afternoons, and knitting and crochet groups meet on Tuesday afternoons. That's what's going on at the library.
All right, thank you. Councilman Walters.
Just a quick clarification, Mr. Crum, was the 13th, 20th, you meant Thursday? Because
Yes.
Tuesday would be.
Thursday is the 13th.
Okay, thank you.
I was
Thank you.
on the wrong day. Had the day off work, so I'm kind of screwed up.
All right, so I have some announcements from the Senior Center. Some upcoming events: library presentation Wednesday, April 12th at 9 a.m. A monthly dinner Friday, April 14th at 6 p.m. Blood pressure checks Tuesday, April 18th at 9:45 a.m. Scam awareness class Tuesday, April 18th at 12:30 p.m. Tech troubleshooting Tuesday, April 18th at 2 p.m. Commodities Wednesday, April 19th at 1 p.m. That was the 18th. Monthly breakfast Saturday, April 22nd at 10 a.m. Lunch at Dusty's Monday, April 24th at 10:45 a.m. Singo Monday, April 24th at 1 p.m. Matter of Balance Tuesday, May 2nd at 1 p.m. and Mother's Day lunch Saturday, May 6th at 11 a.m. Some recurring programs at the Senior Center: Domino's, Donuts, Coffee and Conversation, Chair Yoga, Billiards, Bingo, Bunko, Steps, Cards, Drumming, Well Rep, Let's Groove, and Crafting Club. For the Haysville numbers, last year the one-way riders, 302 for March, and 9 new registered riders. For this last March in 2023, the one-way riders was 289 with 12 new registered riders. All right, next we have Central County Fire Department Station 34 monthly report. It's in your packet. Letter from the Arbor Day Foundation regarding the 2022 Tree City USA recognition. Memo for the organized trash collection planning meeting schedule. So the dates are in there for the planning meetings. Email from Cost Communications. And Economic Development Quarterly Report. Danielle?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have the first quarter economic development report in your packets. I just wanted to point out a few items. You'll see I did add a few comparison charts throughout the report comparing first quarter from last year to this year. On page 5, under events, I included how many people we talked to at the home show this year. And throughout the 4 days, we spoke to 1,319 participants. So that's 255 more than last year. So I am very grateful to the volunteers who helped that weekend. We promoted our wonderful city, our events, schools, restaurants, shops, and answered any questions. Under digital report on page 6 through 8, I still included the YouTube and Facebook analytics, but I also added the Instagram and LinkedIn. And then lastly, under grants, on page 8 through 10, this year's grants that we applied to and are waiting award notifications are listed on there, and those 3 specifically are on page 8. And that's all I have for tonight. Do you have any comments or questions for me?
I'll see you.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item 5, old business, A, consideration of revisions to personnel manual. So you had this last month in our packet. So if you have any questions on that, I'm sure somebody can answer those for you. I thought I would entertain a motion for approval. Councilperson Barton?
Make a motion, we approve the revisions to the personnel manual.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the revisions to the personnel manual. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ewert. Yes. Benner,
Yes.
Horton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 6, other business. A, public hearing for the floodplain ordinance update. Jonathan?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The FEMA specialist contacted me about updates needed to be done to our floodplain ordinance. Our plan has not been updated since 2016, and updates to the plan require a public hearing. The floodplain regulations are a prerequisite for cities to be able to qualify for flood insurance. The Kansas Department of Agriculture state engineer has already approved these changes which had to be done before the public hearing. The updated ordinance will come back to you in May for approval and adoption. Mayor, if you'll please open the required public hearing.
Thank you. So I have a script I'll be going off of. So I officially opened the public hearing to consider the revisions to Haysville's floodplain management plan. Do any members of the council have a conflict of interest in this case? If so, please disqualify yourself from further action by the city council for this case. You may choose to speak as a member of the public. Has the city received any written or electronic communications on this matter? If so, please read or describe them.
We've had none.
Thank you. Will the planning and zoning administrator present the floodplain management plan?
Thank you. In the packet for review, in your packet is redline copy of the proposed changes. These changes include updates to language and definitions to match state requirements, updates to findings and facts, reference to the HVAC equipment elevations, and updates and changes to violations.
Are there any questions of the planning and zoning administrator from council? Seeing none, now is the time for any member of the public to speak. You have 5 minutes. If you are presenting good factual information, this time may be extended by council vote. Please state your name and address first. Seeing none, the floor is open to council members' comments. Does council have any comments? Seeing none, I officially close the public hearing to consider revisions to Haysville's floodplain management plan. All right, next we have item B, consideration of contract for sale of Sunflower Park.
Evening, Mayor and Council. On April 5th, we received 3 sealed bids for Sunflower Park. I am seeking authorization to sell the park for $22,500. There is a contract in your packet for your review. Just looking for authorization.
Councilperson Parton.
What was it appraised for?
I believe it was $22,500. That was the appraised amount.
Okay.
Councilperson Parton.
I make a motion, we accept the bid to sell, Sunflower Park.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to sell Sunflower Park for the bid of $22,500. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barclay.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Garden.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, C, consideration of retention schedule. Angie?
Included in your packet is a proposed records retention policy and schedule. We do not currently have a written policy, and each department is responsible for their own records to maintain. We do keep some of the longer-term items here in the vault at City Hall. We have also gone through the schedule that was not updated since 2012 and added a few things, removed a few things that are obsolete now, and made sure everything conformed to state laws or any other grant programs. We're just requesting your approval.
Councilman Crum?
Does all this have to do with actual paper copies, or does this also include some things that are on
It's
digital?
both.
It's both.
It's both.
Do we have, in our system, do we have folders that are used just for that? Do we have things that are saved in?
That's part of what we're getting ready to go through with this policy is we're gonna have a committee set up that's gonna go through and come up with the best way to structure that for us to save.
Is there a possibility we can take some that we actually have paper copies now and we could adjust that so that from now on it'll be digital perhaps?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yes.
Councilman Crum?
There's no other questions. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the change to the retention policy schedule as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve the retention schedule. During discussion, Councilman Walters.
So the schedule, I understand we're updating. The policy, is this the first time?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I understood. Go ahead.
Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Burden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have D, consideration of special council meeting in December of 2023.
We wanted to go ahead and schedule the final meeting of the year for 6:00 PM on Thursday, December 28th. It would be a different time adjustment, but before the holiday weekend, we just want to get everything written.
We can't hear you. What'd you say?
It is a time adjustment. It would be 6:00 instead of
Okay.
7:00,
On the
is what we're
28th?
proposing on the 28th.
Council like to approve the last meeting in December? Councilman Crum?
I make a motion that we accept the new date for this special council meeting to be held in December 2023, the last meeting of the year.
Second.
The 23rd or 28th?
28th.
28, I said 2023, the year.
No second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the special council meeting in December 2023. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Burden,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have E, consideration of bids for construction of the South Meridian sidewalk. Tony?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The bid letting for the South Meridian sidewalk was held on March 22nd. The sidewalk will run on the east side of Meridian from the intersection of Meridian and Grand south to Chelsea. The sidewalk will be a 6-foot wide sidewalk. The engineer's estimate was just over $273,000. Did include a PDF of the alignment in the bid tab in your packet. We are seeking authorization to accept the bid from Conspec Incorporated, doing business as Kansas Paving, in the amount of $160,725. This will be paid out of capital improvements funds.
Councilman Rorden?
Okay, Tony, I was looking at this and kind of went over this a little bit. I know we need the sidewalk. That's not my point. My point is that I kind of have an issue of the engineering cost was at $273,520. Compact they turned in a bid of $160,725. That's $85,630 cheaper than everybody else. So how do they come up with almost 85 or over $85,000 cheaper than everybody else?
So the contractor market is almost impossible right now to put your finger where the pulse is. Kansas Paving did do the Orchard Acres project several years ago, so they are a reputable company in the Wichita area. But to speak on why there's that wide of a discrepancy, it's hard to say. A lot of the contractors voice that they're struggling with staffing. There's a lot of Fed dollars out there, so there's tons of projects out there. But to definitely answer how they are cheaper, I can't speak for that. But I can say they're reputable, they do good business, and
Right. Well, Kansas Paving has done a lot of work around here for a long time, but I guess my take on it is on the bid, the contractor's bid, the erosion control was for $15,000. The other two companies did it somewhere in that neighborhood of $15,000. How can Conspec, how can they do it for $500? That's my question. I just have an issue with, the engineers, they get paid to do that stuff. They get paid to figure it all out. I don't understand how a company can come in and do it for $500 when everybody else is saying that it's gonna be the $15,000. There was one other issue that I was looking at here. No, I guess that was it. I guess that was I don't understand what the temporary or permanent project seeding is. The bid was for 15,000 from the engineering company, and here again, ComSpec saying that they're gonna do it for 500.
Right, so like,
I guess I just have a little bit of an issue with,
so that line item 7 that you're talking about, temporary and permanent project seeding, that would pertain to any soil that they disturb. So if they scrape any vegetation where there's none left, they have to provide seed for that. We all know doing business with contractors, when you have line items, they'll put money wherever it makes sense for them. A lot of times, if you pay attention to the mobilization fee that we have on projects, there can be some wide discrepancies in that. And the reason that I believe is because mobilization is one of the first things they can bill for. So they want a lot of money up front right away, they'll put a lot of money in mobilization. So internally, when we do projects ourselves, Will's directed us not to include mobilization in that. Because when you're talking about a sidewalk project, how much mobilization is there? You
Right.
see one contractor had $50,000 worth of mobilization.
right. So, okay, I just, I was sitting there over the weekend looking at this, and okay, how can a contractor come in at $85,000 cheaper than everybody else?
Right.
That was just a little bit concerning to me.
Yeah, a couple things that I would add is, it's a sidewalk project, so if there's any change orders presented by the contractor, we always vet those pretty well, internally and also with PEC. I lost my train of thought. I think that was it.
So,
Councilman Crum?
Like I always do when there's big gas, but I also know the engineer estimates are usually high, because they want to make sure the bids come in underneath that.
I understand that.
Yeah, I think it's because Kansas Paving does work down here. I think maybe they've already got stuff available. They're not worried about planting stuff if they need to, because they've got plenty of grass seed, but it may very well just be that right now they've got the staffing for it and these other places don't. Because I know there's a lot of them doing it. I'm glad it came in that far underneath.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not complaining about the cost,
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm for saving money and, whatever, but I guess my concern was the $85,000 difference, so. Because sometimes, just because you bid on the lowest bid, doesn't mean you get the best job.
Yeah. So with that, the city has a very detailed specification book. It's about that thick. So that's our job as inspectors on the project to make sure the contractor is not cutting corners. Because whether it's cheap, expensive or not, we want to get a bang for our buck. So we'll be out there inspecting that like we do on every project we have.
Councilperson Barton?
And I know dealing with contractors right now, some of them are bidding high regardless, because they don't want the job at the time, but they're sending in a bid. If they get it, they're like, oh, hey, we got extra money.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
another thing.
We've had projects where contractors will tell us, if you can wait up to 6 months for us to even start the work, we'll bid. If not, I'm sorry, we're too busy. So there's part of it, we worry about the cost, we also worry about, are we gonna get more than one bidder?
Councilman Walters?
I appreciate that we have a good background with Kansas Paving, that we've done that. That's pretty important to me, along with getting a best deal, a bang for the buck. So appreciate the work that's been done. And if there's no other questions, I propose that we go ahead and approve this project with ComSpec for $160,725.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the bids, or the bid for the construction of the South Meridian sidewalk as presented. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Carton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have F, consideration of 2023 street report and program.
All right, so real quick, I'll give you an overview of our street evaluation process. So our street superintendent, John Simons, performs the evaluation. There's 546 segments of pavement in the city limits. It's hard to tell on the screen, but there's a camera icon and then there's a little red star that indicates every segment and road we have and we evaluate. We evaluate it to include any surface deficiencies and any drainage issues. Photos are then taken of each pavement. So if we have a 1/4-inch crack in a road, we want to be able to look at the year after or the year before and say, okay, that crack's getting wider or it's not. This is the form that he uses to evaluate every single road. It's into our GIS system, so it's all digital. He does it off an iPad, so the photos are internally stored in the cloud forever. One thing that's important, he does do a rating on the road, 1 to 10, and then he does any comments he may have on drainage, any recommended maintenance, and also rehab. The next slide will show our rating scale. This is called the PASER rating scale. That's used pretty nationally across the country. 1 to 10, 10 being best, 1 is being poor and terrible condition. Street reconstruction. So this is the process of completely rebuilding a street from the ground up. It involves removing the existing road surface and then the base and then rebuilding with new material. And why do we do that? We do that because a road pavement has significant damage or deterioration where any of the other tools we may have won't do much for it. And you can see the pictures on the right there. The bottom right is our specification we have in all our plans. So right now, a new road, like over in Coppertail, it's going to have 6 inches of reinforced crushed rock base. It'll have 3 inches of asphalt base, and then 2 inches, the top 2 inches will be your riding surface. So when we do some of these old streets that were built in the 60s and 70s, some of the asphalt's placed right on top of dirt. And the issue with roads is if you get water underneath the roads with our Kansas temperatures, they like to freeze, get hot, it just opens the crack over and over and over again. That's when we have street deterioration. So on the next slide, we've outlined Boffman from Anita going north around the corner to Hemp Hill to Delos as a street reconstruction. Things to note on this map is the red line, which there's a good picture in your packet. The red line on Boffman is replacing curb and gutter. So internally, we did a full-fledged survey on this project. Where that red line begins on the north side is where the curb and gutter failed to move stormwater where it needed to go. So basically that water is allowed to just pool in the road. And if anybody's been over on Boffman, when it rains, it's almost a pond. So that water stays in the road, gets underneath the road, it freezes, it cracks it, crumbles it, everything. The yellow parcels that are highlighted there, because we are replacing the curb and gutter, we are needing to replace their driveway approaches because that elevation will change a little bit. And I'm not sure any of these people who live over there would like having a little bit of a drop off from their drive to the curb. So we'll be replacing those driveways to the right-of-way line up to the current city specification as well. And the orange, of course, is the area that will be total reconstructed. You see that northwest corner there, there's like a half cul-de-sac. Currently right now, there is a small island with maybe 200 square feet of grass and a tree. We are going to remove that and just put asphalt. We do have to, I wouldn't say motivate our park guys, but we do have our park guys who have to stop there, unload all their equipment and mow that small portion of grass. There will be about 6 trees that's on a residential property in the right-of-way that will be removed. There are several that are literally a couple feet from the curb line. Trees and curbs and streets don't mix. That's what really caused the issues with the curb that we're replacing. If you have any questions during this, please interrupt me. Next up, mill and overlay. So we've done this over the last couple of years. Mill and overlay generally is milling 2 inches of asphalt off the old pavement and replacing it with new. Why we do this is it's a little bit more cost effective, not a little, a lot more cost effective than a total street reconstruction, but it also gives a new driving surface for the driver. It also seals the road where that water isn't getting in between the pavement and the rock base. So this year we have slated.
Councilor Walters, did you have a question?
Yeah, backing up to the slide with the yellow houses outlined and the driveway replacement. Now you said that was what's authorized by the city or whatever. Was that about 6 feet-ish or so from the street?
So I think the right-of-way is 30 feet, so it's about 15 feet of driveway that we'll be replacing.
15 feet of driveway?
Yeah, 15 feet long. And these driveways have various widths.
Right.
Many of them are not meeting our specification now. We looked at internally trying to replace just what they have, but I have a hard time, the city doing a project not meeting specification. So we're gonna put it back to meet our spec.
Those driveways are pretty short over there anyway.
Some of them. Yeah, I drove by there today looking at, there's a couple of them that look brand new. Some of them are in terrible condition. But we're just going to, on all those yellows, we're going to replace up to 15 feet of driveway into their,
Yeah, so we're gonna replace the driveway approach all the way to the right of way, which is approximately 15 feet. The city spec is a minimum 12-foot wide, so there are several over there that have maybe an 8-foot wide driveway. That doesn't meet our spec, so now with this project, they will get a 12-foot wide driveway.
some of
right
them are
away.
just gravel. Like the first house on the left, it's a U, and it's just gravel. We're
Right.
gonna put 15 feet of concrete into their yard
Yeah,
on both their driveways.
correct.
Just like we did up in north of the Big Ditch.
And the really issue is we have to, because replacing the curb and gutter, which is getting the water where it needs to go, there will be a drop off from their driveway to the street, and we can't do that.
Okay.
All right, mill and overlay project, we have slated for Second Street, west of Ranger, going to Peachwood Drive. This road has a lot of transverse cracks, and when I talk about transverse cracks, it's cracks that run opposite of the flow of traffic. So the one you drive across and you get that little bump every time you drive across it. On the east side of Second Street, we had a pretty large main break last summer that really put this road in even worse condition. So this would be a mill and overlay project over on Second Street. Next up, the fun stuff, the cost estimate. So this is an internal cost estimate we did. We reached out to contractors, tried to put a pulse that we talked about earlier on unit prices for aspects of both these projects. So for Boffman and Hemphill street reconstruction, we have estimated at just over $400,000. And then for what we're gonna call alternate work, and I called it alternate because I'm still not comfortable with what contractors' numbers will come in at. We have mill and overlay for Second Street at just over $90,000 at $92,500. So next up, recommendation next steps, I would like for you guys to approve the street maintenance program as outlined. At that time, we will then advertise our request for proposals, and then the hope would be to bring that back to you in May to accept a bid from our best bidder.
Councilman Crowe?
Tony, on the thing that's got it broke down by streets, there's a column, I can't make out what it means, but it's got descriptions, they're like distortion and rip line and rutting and settling. Is that, what does rutting mean?
So rutting is when the traffic is either heavy and or continuous, where your tire travels actually goes like this. Like you may remember East Grand before we reconstructed that, like when it rained, you could clearly see where the tires ran in the road because it held water. It's a very technical street term, rutting.
Because I did notice that on North Timber Lane, that area that we had trouble with when we did it last time, that he's got that one section marked and has it, and it's marked as rutting. And are we afraid we're gonna run into any other places in the city like this one where we're basically having to go in and redo what they did as it is failing?
Oh yeah, I mean, we don't have enough money in the world to do probably the amount of street maintenance we can do or have the need for. Some of the variables we look at is like traffic, like Boffman, a lot of the school and or the Weckworth manufacturing utilize that road to get in and out. So the more people we can touch with the project, the better. But yeah, there's plenty of roads if you guys want to throw some cash my way.
But North Timber Lane, so we're still doing that same thing, if when the area fails bad enough, then we're actually going in and trying to fix it.
And now what we do, when we have any street project, whether it be mill and overlay, reconstruction, we actually send our street crew out there so they'll core it. So they'll take a 4-inch core and drill down as far as they can. So then we pull that and we can say, okay, there's 2 inches of asphalt and there's 2 inches of base. So before we get into a project, we know, is this road sitting on dirt or is it sitting on rock?
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Bitter?
There's no other discussion. I'd move that we approve the street maintenance program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2023 street report and program. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Hebert?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Carton?
Yes,
Crown?
Yes.
Thompson?
Ms. Person Barton?
while you're still up there,
One more thing.
have we done any looking into seeing if there's any grants or anything to do North Ward Parkway, Sunnyside, and East Cottonwood Lane to turn it from gravel to,
Something.
There's a ton of money out there in grants federally. I know Will said in many webinars, I've said in many webinars, and kind of talking to our other partners in the area, Sedgwick County, City of Wichita, kind of the opinion is a lot of those grants are written for West Coast, East Coast arch projects. We're always looking, we're a part of the League of Kansas Municipalities, other partner organizations that put out tools or guidance on, hey, here's a great grant that would be fitting for some of the cities around here. We're always looking, we'll continue to look, but it's
But that's
difficult.
kind of like the pit over there, that's the last part of, actually in the main part of the city, that's still gravel.
Yeah, and Mayor Kessler put that on one of his agenda items when he took office, was to get that paved, so.
I'll keep bringing it up.
More money.
All right, just need the money. G, consideration of purchase of water meter setters.
All right, so we have obtained quotes to purchase water material, service material for the Coppertail Development Phase 1. I'm asking approval to accept the best bid from Wichita Windwater in the amount of $12,609. This will be paid out of Water Materials Fund. And then just kind of an FYI on some of this water material stuff, you'll probably start seeing more of it, because as these developments happen, the lead time on water material is getting longer. Sometimes it's anywhere from 28 to 52 weeks out on material. So we are trying to do our best to forecast developments. The last thing we want is a new development come in and we can't install a water meter because we don't have the parts. So you may start seeing some of these more often.
Councilperson Barton?
Make a motion, we accept the bid from Wichita Windwater for $12,609.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the water meter setters as presented. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barclay.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Rarden.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, item 7, department reports. A, administrative services. Georgie?
There are lots of events coming up. I just want to let everybody know the annual bike swap will be on Sunday, April 23rd from 10 to 5 over in the Historic District Pergola. Arbor Day tree planting, once again, will be on Monday, May 1st, 5:15 over in Dorner Park by the Trout Shelter. National Day of Prayer will be Thursday, May 4th, noon here at the City Hall in the parking lot. If the weather is raining or inclement, will be moved into the courtroom, I believe. And then lastly, the Haysville PRC Rodeo is coming up on Friday and Saturday, May 5th and 6th, 7:30 p.m. on both nights at Haysville Saddle Club down off of 87?
95th.
There we go, wrong address, sorry. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next, we have B, city clerk. Angie?
I have nothing.
C, police. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We got a couple of events coming up. We do have our prescription drug take back coming up on April 22nd from 10 to 2 right here in the parking lot. We'll do a drive-through event again this year. Take any kind of prescription medications or other medications that you don't want to dispose of or you haven't disposed of. Please don't flush them. Bring them here. They'll dispose of them properly. Get that all taken care of for you. It's the safest way to do it. Keeps them out of everybody's hands. Won't be any place they're not supposed to be. We also have our car seat check coming up on May the 6th from 9 to 1. Again, it's going to be here in the parking lot. We'll be checking car seats, so if you have a car seat that you're not sure if it's installed properly or have questions about that, come in. We have a bunch of technicians that'll be out here from our department, a couple other departments. We'll be here to answer all your questions about those and make sure that your car seats are properly installed. So we have that. Also, just letting everybody know that we will probably in the next few weeks have information coming out about the Civic Ready program. We talked about it a little bit. That'll be the replacement for the Nixle system that we currently use. We'll have some more information coming out about that, how to sign up for it, and we'll make sure that everybody gets that information out there. And lastly, not least, our visiting officer is Officer Nolan Smith. He's our officer out there tonight. He's currently assigned to the first shift, so say hi to him as you go by out there. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Chief, what were the hours of the drug take back?
Drug take back will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you.
Yep. And it's the same day as the party in the 060, so I guess you can stop by there on your way to the party in the 060.
Thanks, Chief. Next, we have Public Works.
Just quickly, an update on the Coppertail development. The contractor is expecting to begin curb, gutter, and pavement installation this week. Water, sanitary sewer, and stormwater are mostly complete, so it's been a good project so far.
Thanks, Tony. Next we have recreation. Rob?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Haysville pool sales start today. So if you're signing up for swim lessons, renting pool parties, or getting your pool memberships, you can stop by the hack or online at hazelrec.com to get those. Like Chief said, part of the 060 is on April 22nd in Riggs Park, and then the splash pad will open for the season on May 1st. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Next we have item 8, appointments. A, reappointment of Brooke Azier and Carolyn Brown to the Haysville Community Library Board for 4-year terms. Councilman Crum?
I make a motion that we approve the reappointments of Brooke Azier and Carolyn Brown to the Haysville Community Library Board for 4-year terms.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the reappointment of Brooke Azier and Carolyn Brown to the Haysville Community Library Board for 4-year terms. Is there discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Next, we have B, appointment of Susan Sutton to the Sedgwick County Fire District Number 1 Steering Council for a 2-year term. And she's also in the audience back there. Councilman Crum?
Make a motion that we approve the appointment of Susan Sutton to the Sedgwick County Fire District Number 1 Steering Council for a 2-year term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Barkley?
May I ask her a question?
Sure.
Sure.
Are you in, or do you have any relation on the fire department?
And my father-in-law was retired from Winfield Fire Department.
Okay. That's all. Thank you. I don't believe I'm allowed to vote on this.
You should be able to. I mean, this is the city representative to the county steering committee.
Okay.
So you have no financial gain or anything to it, so.
But a Wichita fireman wasn't allowed to be on there.
Right, Wichita Fire Department cannot be on the board, cannot be on the steering council.
Okay. All right.
Is there any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 9, off agenda citizens to be heard. Are there any citizens that would like to speak? Seeing none. Item 10, executive session, we have none scheduled. Item 11, review of expenditures. A, summary of March expenditures.
Oh, that's me. I move to receive and file the March expenditures.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file on the March expenditures. Is there a discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 12, the consent agenda. We have 2 items on there. Councilperson Parton.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 13, council items. A, council concerns. Does council have any concerns? Councilman Crum?
Not a concern, it's just something I didn't think about until later. When we did the Meridian sidewalk thing, are we looking at putting lights over there on that side, or is that gonna be separate, or how are we gonna do that?
That would be separate from this.
What are we, do we see having lights on that side possibly, or just on the other side where we have them now?
Tony? Will?
It's complicated right now because the county owns the right of way over there, and we've had meetings with them in the past, and they do not foresee a crosswalk going in over there. But also be aware that the city limits abuts the whole way of Meridian over there.
So there may be a time in the very near future that it's ours, and then at that point, you guys can make that decision. But yeah, crosswalks are very expensive, 150, 200,000. There is still a safe way, I guess, for kids to walk on the east side up to Grand and then cross over.
Correct, and that's good to know, but I actually meant lights, not crosswalk.
The antique lights.
The
Oh.
antique light.
Oh.
That's what I was talking about. But that was a good answer. for the
Those
crosswalk.
Not that we're ready for something.
That was
that's
gonna
not
come up, you know that was gonna come up.
We have not talked about it, but I know along all of our sidewalks that don't have, lights, we have been doing it. I know that's also costly.
Right.
Yes, I think there's enough light over there right now, but I think, antique lighting would look good over there, so.
Okay, so, but it'd be, just be a wait and see, we'd have to see when it would come up in the budget.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And one thing to add to that, at some point Meridian will be widened to like 3 lanes. It may be best to add that asset once it's widened, so if it gets tore out, we have the sidewalk, like you may have seen, alignment is in the reserve in a lot of area on Meridian because of when Meridian gets widened, we don't have to tear out a new sidewalk. It may be a good idea to have antique lights after that, if and when that happens, I guess.
Okay, thanks.
Councilman Warden?
Okay, on the corner of South Marlin and Grand, since we got the Coppertail edition coming in, we have on would be the southwest corner there, the sidewalk comes down, and if a lot of people are walking on the sidewalk and people turn off of Grand onto Marlin, either direction, north or south, there's no street light there. And it's kind of dark, and if somebody's walking their animal, if they're riding a bike or whatever, makes it kind of dangerous for somebody turning off a Grand because it's dark there, you can't see. And it's gonna get a whole lot worse when Coppertail opens up because you're gonna have people in the housing addition over there that go for a walk. So I think we need to look at putting a street light there somewhere.
Right there on the corner?
Right on the corner. I would say on the southwest corner. Because then that would somewhat light that whole intersection. We already have a light to the east of there, but it doesn't cover that specific intersection. So,
Okay.
just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, something, we could definitely look at it.
Okay.
Any other concerns, council? If not, I'd be council action request updates.
All right, update for 7050 Plaza. The property is still not in compliance. Previous owner was fined and has a compliance check with the court on April 11th. County records do indicate the property has changed ownership. We did send a notification letter out to the new owner of the current violations on that property. 7106 South Broadway, the property owner did not appear in court. A warrant has been issued. And then 1503 East Cottonwood, we had this issue in the past with the property owner. We sent a notice of violation and they have corrected the issue for now. The property is in compliance and case is considered closed. And then 260 Sunnyside, we did send a notice of violation to the property owner and that violation is still active as of this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Next item 14, adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barton.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Burton.
Yes.
Ewer.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.